So we are live from our pilot episode of an unnamed interview episode series, aka podcast, or whatever we want to call it. Lisa's a lot more creative than I am, so I kind of laid on her for the name, and she didn't really come through, so we didn't start this relationship too great.
I'm a teacher. It's the end of the school year, and it's National Teachers Day, and Daniel forgot to wish me a happy National Teachers Day.
I'm not even going to lie, I have it on my notes to do that, and I forgot. So we are neutral now.
Okay,
So
thank you.
all is forgiven.
Yes, we can come up with a title when the school year is over.
We're on that.
Okay.
So we won't have a title for a couple weeks, but
Thank you.
it'll work. So Danny Two Guns, owner of Two Guns Training Systems and co-owner of Movement Forever Fitness.
Lisa Comenti-Foster, member of Two Guns Training.
Rock star member of Two Guns Training Systems.
Lifestyle extraordinaire, co-lifestyle, Daniel.
We didn't really realize we were lifestyle. Is it still brethren if we go?
Yeah, brethren's fine.
Yeah. So lifestyle brethren until we first met. Can I put you on the spot to talk a little bit about the day we first met and became best friends and did karate in the garage?
You can do that. So I was scrolling through Facebook, I guess a few days before I contacted you, maybe like a minute before I contacted you. I was being coy. And I was just looking for something different in my fitness regime, because working out is stupid. I hate exercising. Right, Daniel?
We are the gym for not gym people, so you fit right in.
I hate it. That's why I always say it's called working out, not funning out. When my husband says, I don't like exercising because I don't like working out, I'm like, well, that's why they call it working out, not funning out. And so I was looking for something different. I just didn't want to continue going to the same thing that I was doing, even though it was fine. And I was scrolling through Facebook, and I saw some post, some millions of posts that you did.
Never.
No. That's why you end up in Facebook jail.
Did happen once. We can tell that story at a later date.
Right. That's for another episode. And I contacted you, and then we met shortly after. And you say that I had I hold the record for the longest.
You and Angie, it's one of the two of you. We didn't have a timer, but you're both eclipsed the 2 hour mark. The average is about 60 to 70 minutes.
It can't be 2 hours.
It was. It was at least 2 hours.
It seemed like a
It
flash.
just went quickly by.
That's what happens when you're best friends.
Right? It's like when you're immediately best friends in the first 7.5 minutes, you don't even know what the next 1 hour and 53 minutes is.
Well, I walked in here and I saw your socks.
What did my socks say?
They were, first of all, knee socks. You don't often see a large man wearing knee socks.
Well, you're not here very often if that's true.
No, with sizable calves. I feel like you should put them up on the table, but the world might not be ready for that. That's for another episode.
I have the pair I was
You have
wearing
the pair?
on. I do.
Okay.
So we'll have to see if Joe this is in the shot, but
Oh, I'm not ready.
I'm gonna
turn
mansplain
away
this.
because I feel like this might be bad for me.
this is, what does that say?
Yikes.
Yikes indeed.
Yikes. Does it have the F word on it?
It does.
Okay.
We'll say effing.
Okay. So I saw that Daniel's socks said the F word on them, and I thought, this is the place for me. And I said to him, where have you been my whole life?
I think we each said it about 5 times. Just
Yeah.
like, where have you been all my life?
And then when we walked out into the gym, not gym, I heard delicious music playing over the speakers. I think it was boy bandish.
I said probably.
Yeah. And I didn't see anybody with their little earbuds in, and everybody was just kind of hanging out. And I thought, I didn't want you to know right away, but this was my place. But I think I told you. Hence I was here for 2 hours.
I think you played coy and hard to get, and then it was just like, oh yeah, I'm
okay,
here now,
fine.
and we're here.
That's fine. That's fine. So that's when we became best friends.
It's true.
Did I leave anything out?
No, because I wouldn't like length. We just became best friends. Why did we just become best friends?
I don't know.
Oh, well, I feel like it's all just the magic and allure of all that is Two Guns Training Systems.
Well, we're both a lifestyle, too. Maybe you should talk about the lifestyle.
Well, I guess I didn't know I was a lifestyle until I met you.
Oh.
Right? And you kind of I was like, you're a lifestyle. Well, actually, you probably called me a lifestyle
I did.
first.
I said that you were a lifestyle. Yeah.
I think one of the things we talk about in the gym is that it's more so about the environment and the conditions of which we can exist in the gym. Because one of the myths of motivation is that I can motivate you or I can do something to motivate you. And that's just not true, right? No matter how much cheerleading or anything we do, it just doesn't work that way. But what we can do is to create the conditions and environment in which people are then able to motivate themselves through our community. So when people ask what the biggest differentiator is between us and other gyms, I like to talk about how individualized the programming is, because the quickest way to get people to their goals is something that's individualized to them. But when you ask the average client, they'll tell you it's the culture, the community, the camaraderie, this whole one big happy dysfunctional fitness family we have going on here, where it's okay to be an effing unicorn and it's okay to put that on your socks, and unconditionally be yourselves in an environment that typically thwarts any and all of that, where everyone's doing the same thing, there's no guidance, there's no support, and all of a sudden we don't know what we're doing here, where we create all those conditions, and I guess that's part of being a lifestyle.
It's part of the allure. It's what keeps people coming back for more.
Well, and for most people, like it's the weird outlier person in which working out is massively enjoyable and fun, right? Because most people, they have myriad responsibilities, all these things going on in their life, that finding time to do this thing that we kind of made up because we don't hunt and gather for food anymore, and we need to do these things to keep us alive, but also, how do I do it? How do I know what I'm doing? How do I know to keep going? Like, this kind of hurts, but should I stop? Or am I weak? Should I keep going? And there's never any guidance, and we just end up on a hamster wheel. We renamed a treadmill, right? And kind of finding, hey, what does this person need for exactly where they're at?
We just end up on a treadmill at a gym where there are old men watching Fox News, and we're not allowed to change the channel because you're a woman with short hair and they don't like you.
And like, she walks in and they're like, she has a women's studies degree, and then it's all
right, and a hyphen, and they can just see it all over you. So predictable.
And Lisa Kameni Foster, historically she was known as CF, and in the fitness world, CF stands for CrossFit, and we're not going to bash anybody, but I just couldn't call her that.
No.
So automatically, short hair, lifestyle, women's studies, hyphenated last name, hyphen was born.
Right.
And does anyone else call you hyphen outside of this?
No, and I appreciate the fact that no one here calls me CF, because all of my students call me CF. So it's nice to have a place outside of school where people don't call me by those initials. I love all of my students, most of them anyways, past, present, etc. On National Teachers Day.
On National Teachers Day, which I completely dropped the ball on, and I will probably apologize like once every episode.
Starbucks, Hobby Lobby, all of those places.
Any place that has scrapbooking.
Crafts. All the crafts. All the coffee and all the crafts.
That's Coffee and Crafts?
Yes.
But that's the next podcast. We already named that one, so we're still going to work on this name.
Right.
I think because part of the reason that we are co-hosting this, because every odd week, essentially week 1, 3, 5, etc., it'll just be Lisa and I kind of hyphen and I bantering.
No one ever uses my first name.
I don't know what happened. The camera
except my husband.
Toby.
Ooh. Yikes, Toby. He's not watching this. He's at home playing video games right now.
His headset's on, so he's oblivious.
Yes. He has to get to a save point in order to watch this.
And this is going to be like a half an hour, so who knows if he can take that much time off. So we'll be bantering, going over some fitness topics as it's related to oh my God. Hyphen does stand-up comedy, so she's actually hilarious, and she's not going to say that she's shy, but she's a little shy right now, so we'll get her out of her stand-up comedian shell, and maybe even have her dad in here, because just start making fun of him, and that's kind of the way the stand-up goes.
I also kind of have to be good because I have to keep my full-time job in order to pay for this lifestyle.
This is true, so we'll give you like PG-13 plus hyphen,
right,
rather, because we can't go full
right.
R-rated. I can understand that. But also, one of the things is you're a great fitness story as per who we aim to serve, how we do it, and your background. So we would be remiss if we didn't tackle that just a little bit today. So
Everybody wants to tap this.
we want this to happen, and I want you to start from the beginning.
Oh.
The beginning is an inside joke that no one really knows because I have an educational background that is long and varied. So whenever people ask me what my educational background is, I always like that because it's one of the bigger differentiators. But also I'm like, I don't know where to start. And then the last time someone asked me, she said the beginning. And I talked for like 21 minutes, and Jeff was like, "What just happened?" And I'm like, "She asked."
Someone timed you?
Right. No, but I was in front of the clock.
Oh.
So yeah, she was like, "Actually, Jenny Doyle, if you're watching, you did that, and it was great for me anyway."
The
Story of my life.
beginning, as in like when my parents took me home from St. Vincent's and, like took me to Lane Bryant to buy my first onesie as a plus-size child, and then took me right to Weight Watchers and.
Well, I was gonna say the start of your fitness story, but then you immediately got there.
Oh.
So.
Yeah. Oh, the fitness story. I don't. Where shall I start, Daniel?
I guess when the first time in which you're like, and maybe even how, but like, I need to change, and whatever the catalyst was, or how and why, what started essentially the hyphen fat loss journey.
Oh.
Well, it's how much weight have you lost since you started the hyphen fat loss journey?
The hyphen fat loss journey is on the precipice of 175. So let's just sit here and let that sink in. 175, people.
We're also probably going to splice in a picture or video of her holding up someone who weighs 175.
That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight to carry around.
That is a grown human being, and then some.
Yeah, and you know what? P.S. I still had great hair and excellent clothes and fashionable accessories.
The
even
lifestyle
at that sizable lifestyle.
No dress size and no scale weight.
No, so there's no excuses out there.
Oh, it's true.
So if anybody needs tips, I'm happy to give those as well.
When I believe the line is great hair, hilarious, super smart.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had to give you some kind of challenge, right?
Right. Yeah. People are always trying to keep me down. I rise above the situation.
The lifestyle phoenix.
My IQ is basic, but
I disagree.
We'll see. Anybody who works out there with me can tell you that is true.
Well, once Gray Cook comes around, then who knows what happens with the IQ. Like Lemon Danny shirtless and Gray Cook are both just ways to skew things.
I'm in my mind right now. Okay, so I guess we'll start with the clotpocalypse, perhaps.
That's what I was hinting at. I want you to say it.
Oh, okay. So, almost 9 years ago, Hyphen had a clotpocalypse. So my lungs were full of blood clots. Most people have one. I had, many. They were too numerous to count, this little militant doctor told me. And
so one usually kills somebody.
Right.
So,
I'm an overachiever.
Right? I'm going to do multiples
and
not die.
I know how to do it. So Hyphen is a survivor, and I love that. And so I was laying in the hospital, and I found out that I was diabetic, and the doctor at that same time told me that I had sleep apnea. And at that time, I thought my neck was the thinnest part of my body. I was like, this is a really sweet neck. And he said, do you know that you also have sleep apnea? And I said, how do you know? And he said, well, your neck is very thick. And I thought, well, this is the smallest part of my body. So that was at the time when I also had to put a Darth Vader mask on, and everything just got sexier from that point on.
I was going to say, Toby was sold even more.
I mean, he was sold,
right?
And I still have sleep apnea, by the way. So picture that at night. So diabetes, sleep apnea, all the good stuff, clotpocalypse, and I thought, I have got to figure this out. Of course, I had tried to lose weight many times before that, and I had even succeeded up to 80 pounds once. But then I had hit a terrible plateau. Oh, I don't know, 6 weeks or something ridiculous like that
so
I just
long.
could not fathom. And I don't know, maybe it was a little bit longer than that, but I was only in my mid-20s. And I went to a doctor, and she told me that I would never lose my weight. And she used her hands like this. You're never going to lose all of this weight, which I thought was a really obscene hand gesture at the time. I thought that was terribly insensitive. She has since gotten a card with a picture of me with my weight loss. I told her she should probably not suggest what she suggested to me, or use these types of hand gestures, because I'm a nice writer and really good at homemade cards. Right, Daniel?
Homemade card game. I
Right,
don't know if
on
it could
point,
be better. It
on
is on
point.
point. And it makes you cry.
You're just a baby.
That might be true.
Yeah. So she did this, and I left there thinking she's wrong. I was in my mid-20s, had already lost 80-some pounds, but I felt defeated. I didn't know what to do, so I slowly started to gain all my weight back. And then the apocalypse happened when I was 31. And I thought to myself, no, I'm going to change my life. Now I'm almost 40, and when I was 31, I thought maybe I can try to lose the majority of my weight by the time I'm 40. And here I am.
Grown-ass human being lost.
Grown-ass human being, lost a human being, on the precipice of 40, and near where I'd like to be, I think. So, and without my diabetes, but still with my sleep apnea. But my husband likes Star Wars, so it's kind of a cool Darth Vader mask.
I was going to say, just automatic.
Yeah, yeah. So, and I needed to change up my fitness because I've had a lot of, with years of carrying a lot of extra weight comes a lot of physical issues, like arthritis and more arthritis and knee problems and hip problems and
More arthritis.
More arthritis. I make arthritis and wearing foot insoles and all kinds of orthotics look so sexy. I think other people want to have them.
I was going to say, the hair and arthritis, and all of a sudden people are signing up for
Yeah,
arthritis.
yeah. People are like, I really just want to wear orthotics right now. If I could just be like that lady. Yeah, that's hot. Yeah.
What, because you came to us, you were kind of at a little bit of a plateau. What would you say was the thing that here gave you that you didn't have before? Here meaning the unicorn palace of glory and dreams. Here,
Yes.
right here,
Right.
there.
Here.
We won't mention
This
what
speaks for
this
itself.
looks like.
Right.
Joe bought it.
Joe's in the corner. You should see
Just-
him.
yeah.
He's precious.
Joe is being spot on video back end guy. Back end guy.
Yeah, that speaks for itself. Here is all I really just wanted something that was specialized, and I needed people who were professionals who knew what they were doing. I needed to not be myself in a corner, and I felt like I wasn't pushing myself hard enough in classes where I was in fitness groups, and I knew that the instructors were good people who were trained but couldn't really help me work around the injuries I had. And Daniel knows that I have lots of injuries, and so I always think that the next injury I have, I'm going to gain my weight overnight. So I'll text him or whatever, and like, for example, I got gout this summer. Don't ask how. I think I had one beer and I got gout. Homer Simpson eats donuts and drinks beer all the time, and he never gets gout. It pisses me off, honestly.
Can you guarantee that through all the seasons he never got gout?
Yeah, I looked it up.
Oh.
I asked my husband, actually.
Well, that's just like looking it up.
So that's the
Yeah.
same thing. That's Google right there. That's Toby Google or whatever. And Daniel said, you basically could come in here in a wheelchair and I could find a workout for you.
Well, that's because we talked, and she mentioned a good point with in a lot of fitness things, like they're trained in that thing. They're not necessarily trained in individualizing to the client, and that only works for a small subset, which is kind of the problem. Is that the fitness industry in general is built toward a small subset of people who can do anything, and that really leaves out the people who need help, right? And
I need a lot of help.
well, there's a team
lot.
of hyphen. Right.
Right.
What do you call it?
It's a tribe. It's a village.
The tribe. Yes.
Yeah, it takes a village to raise hyphen.
And I would argue
Yeah.
that that's true of even non-lifestyles.
Yeah.
Right.
It's worth it though.
Well, I mean, you're
Yeah.
here and
Right.
alive and still lifestyling, and
It's still lifestyle.
there aren't too many people who survived multiple apocalypse.
Right. 1 in
Clock
1,000
apocalypse.
statistics, so
That's
it's pretty good.
well, and just in life in general.
Killing it.
There was something you said that having a brain fart on. I feel like
I was just really worried that you were going to fart in this room.
that is a completely fair fear.
I was
Right.
really worried about it.
So this is an overshare for Danny Two Guns is I do not have the ability to silent fart. So we have a very expensive microphone that works three-dimensionally. So the inability to silent fart and that microphone would not be a good combination for Facebook Live. But
I look forward to it.
I think we're going to do this enough.
I'm
that
willing to
it's-
risk it just to have that on camera.
So typically, because if we're doing these on Mondays, because like after like Sunday cheat meal, where
Oh.
like Monday mornings
I have mine
tend
on
to
Saturday,
be rough
so we're
for
all
you.
set.
I'll say it wouldn't be as much of a concern for you
Yeah.
as for me.
No, I'm good.
I feel like we've been far more formal than I would have intended, and I also feel like I'm hogging the lead. And I know I stole the lead,
It's fine.
but
This is your thing.
this is my thing. This is our thing.
I know, but
We
every once in
we
a
only
while,
do things together in this facility. You know that.
Every once in a while, I give the reins to someone. Don't get used to it.
Well, I was gonna say because I'll take it the one time it happens.
I'll let you know
right?
when it's unacceptable.
It's okay. That's fair.
It's
like
fine.
we'll always be clear and explicit about our
Yeah,
limits.
it's fine.
Yeah.
If we're gonna be best friends, that's how it has
This
to be.
is just when you're automatically best friends and then
You have a
stay
certain
best
understanding.
friends, right? And the two people whose scrapbooking is probably like more than a hobby and passion would be you and my mother,
Mm-hmm.
which is probably not a coincidence that we're lifestyle best friends. And then also you happen to be lifestyle best friends with my mother, who
Mm-hmm.
we could probably have a full episode about how amazing and character-like she is. But
She's a gem.
she is. She is.
She raised you, so
Well,
she
it's-
deserves an award
I-
for that.
That is unequivocally true. She'll get embarrassed by this, but my older sister tells stories of when my mother would lock herself in her room crying because she didn't know what to do with me, and my sister had to watch me. And she'd be like, "Can you imagine having to watch you when you made mom cry, and I had to watch you?" And I'm like, I turned out okay,
It's so
maybe,
sad.
right?
It turned out more than okay.
Well, we built a unicorn palace of glory and dreams, right?
And there's very few places where I'm happy, so that's pretty good.
Right? Well, that's the goal,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there has to, again, we talk about working out is not always easy, it's not always fun, and when you get to go work out with your friends in your one big happy dysfunctional fitness family, it's a lot more apt to happen more readily than when you are not.
Mm-hmm.
And motivation and accountability is far more complicated than people ever give it credit for, but
Put the good music on,
Yes.
and your
Right.
friends show up, and
get some friends, and whether it's boy band day or genuine or whatever we need,
It's genuine.
It's genuine. That's Friday at 6. Is that if you ever want
Friday at
to
6.
do some deadlifts and twerk to genuine.
If you ever want to see all my moves, come here Friday at 6.
That's true.
There's just a
'cause
lot shaking
yeah.
around.
Coach Nate is leading the shaking around.
I believe he designs the exercises to see those things.
As per the last time I saw that session, that is unequivocally true.
Right.
A lot of frog gluperages going on.
Very uncomfortable to do those exercises in public, but I'm sure there's science behind them.
In the video, we should splice in LD shirtless doing frog pumps.
Good
right
idea.
now.
Joe, make note of that.
Put it on your
Write it
notepad,
down.
Joe. You just wrote it down.
Okay.
I think one.
Is it your turn to tell your story now?
I mean.
Do we have
It
time?
could be. You're the tech guy.
I mean, we're at 24 minutes.
Oh, we got
Okay,
time
we
for
got-
days.
I have a class to get to, so we just have to make sure that we have time.
Well, so as per the what's your educational background piece,
Right.
what part of my story should we venture down?
Oh, jeez. Do we want to be here at 21 minutes with Daniel's educational background?
It's probably so we could probably talk about just fitness
can we
origin
talk about,
story.
like, were you a fat kid in middle school?
Oh yeah,
Okay, can we talk about you being a fat kid in middle school?
we can certainly talk about
Okay,
that.
because I like to talk
So,
about that.
so generally, whenever I talk about my fitness origin story, it tends to be either from growing up like the chubby kid or what I was aptly called the fat athlete, because I was really good at the sport and I could do the things well, but I also
That's
couldn't really
offensive.
run. And well, I mean, if that's the worst thing I got called in high school, I think in the grand scheme of things.
Okay.
My nickname was Big House.
I like that.
I mean, looking back, 15 years later, I'm like, I doubt they were witty enough to know that I'm okay with it now. But at the time, I'm like, I feel like I need, literal me. I need a more logical nickname than Big House. I hit a home run one time, and they always joked that I was going to get around the bases. It's going to be by home run because you go at your own pace. But
bless your heart.
so there's the fat athlete, chubby kid origin story, and then there's the broken origin story, which is, again, probably lifestyle related to you and I, because having multiple ways there, because I think I got into the individualized training thing because I couldn't just do all the things that people were doing, right? Like the magazines, the internet, P90X, they all told us these things that, oh, you just got to do these things. And I would do them, and I would just get more and more broken, right? And in high school one time, I forget what the exact injury was, but the ortho told my mother that she had to contain me to some degree because I was going to get dropped from our insurance. So that just to give context of how often shoulders were dislocated and knee surgeries were had, and who knows, the plethora. But I graduated high school at 313 pounds. I know that because I stepped on the scale for baseball the day before I blew out my knee in baseball. And that was kind of that was the catalyst for starting the change. I had a good physical therapist who, looking back, I can say it now because I have some education, but she was really good at the behavioral psychology, self-determination theory. Like, everyone told you have to do this thing because someone said or because they said so, where she put it in the context of autonomy, competence, and belonging, and knowing exactly why I should do this and why I should give a poop about things. I'm surprised I've gotten this long without cursing.
Me too.
Right? That's
about myself.
So my mother always cursed like a
I'm
truck
sitting up
driver.
straight.
Right? We're just being really posture diligent here.
Right.
But when
It's because I have a proper coffee cup.
that is one of the most on-point coffee cups I've ever seen. If people are listening just audio, they're going to miss out on. That's probably the only, but that's solid.
Well, it gives us more reason to tune in to Facebook.
You're not wrong. Right? Don't miss it every Tuesday at 5.
Because they should see us. We are something to see.
There's going to be so...
We're both hairy.
That's the fact. She probably has a better mustache game than me, but I'm better in other things. Right? So she put it, and because the ortho had said to my mom, he's like, this knee's never going to recover if he doesn't drop the weight, which is a great way for someone to make a change, right? Just shame them into it. But she put a lot of things in the context of, enjoying the process, and here's why we're doing it, and the recovery, and that kind of led me to delving into the working out thing. And then I graduated high school, 313, and over the course of what would have been my freshman year, had I gone to college right away, I lost 100 pounds. And over that year, it was, okay, I'm going to do a lot of cardio, I'm not going to eat enough, and I'm really not going to do any strength training because that's what everyone says works for fat loss. When now we know that that's an incredible recipe for muscle loss and destroying your metabolism. And that's exactly what I did. So because you're a man, you lost 100 pounds in a weekend, or? It was probably like 27 hours.
I'm annoyed by men and their weight loss. They stop drinking pop for a weekend and quit eating Swedish fish, and they drop about 100 pounds.
I mean,
I'm going to try a dog on your weight loss game, Daniel.
Let's science that later.
In there.
It's just like... no, it was about a year, which is still...
That's sizable,
probably...
though.
It's still probably a little too quickly for that, especially when you're doing it the wrong ways. And over the course of the next 2 years, because when you do all the things the wrong way, the only thing that really happen is rebound, because your body is starved for muscle. I was essentially 200 pounds at a similar body fat to what I was 300 pounds. And actually, it was probably like the unhealthiest I ever was from like a medical standpoint, and just feeling like utter garbage. And then you end up gaining weight back, and that's where people get into this rebound cycles. And so I gained the weight back, and I was like, okay, I did things the way everyone told me. Like, what do I do now, right? And me, I was like, well, I guess I have to learn all these things to kind of figure out how to do it. And that's what started the continuing education journey, which we don't have 21 minutes to necessarily go through, but
it's for another episode.
It's another multiple episodes.
Joseph.
Put it on the
Okay.
notebook, Joseph. And that started it because I couldn't just do everything everyone else was doing. I did it the way everyone said. I ended up hurt, undermuscled, overfat, feeling like crap. And then how do I actually do this? And that has been a journey that will never end, because constantly learning and improving is the only way to progress. But,
Continuing education.
right?
Happy National Teachers Day to all the good teachers
All the good teachers.
who
Right.
have continuing education. Because if you stop learning, you're a bad teacher.
I think if you stop learning, you're a bad human, and we might be able to quote that.
Probably.
Right, it's probably
Is that
fair.
a Danny Two Guns quote?
That we might have to like make that into its own little clip in like
Okay.
the videos, because I think that's pretty on point.
You're an ignorant human, that's for sure.
Probably not wrong, but perfect transition maybe as this comes to a close. One of because whenever a new ache and pain or random gout is onset to hyphen, we always have heart to hearts.
Random gout, yes.
And that-
I was in a boot.
It's literally, she's like, she's like, it was gout, and I'm like, I did not expect that, but we persevered.
Yeah.
I forget the exact context, but I always write it down because I think I always remember the conversation. But the lesson in the end was that their ignorance is not our responsibility. What does that quote mean to you? Do you remember the context in which we talked about it? Because I only remember the quote, and I'm probably quoting myself.
I
right?
think it was
But-
because I think it was the most recent conversation. We've talked about this a few times. The most recent conversation was because of my travels.
Mm.
Yes?
I think so. When you were overseas or in another
Yes.
country, yeah.
So I always am texting Daniel about these as a fellow fat kid from middle school.
There's a club on Facebook,
Yeah.
so if you want to approach, just let me know.
I think we should start that, actually. It would blow up.
Probably not wrong. Oh, of course.
Because you need one more thing to do.
Right,
And
just
so do
a
I.
little more on my plate.
And
yeah,
so do
yeah.
I. I'm sure your wife would be really happy if you had one more thing to do. Ginny, are you watching? Probably not. Because you're at work or taking care of your children.
She's definitely at work now. Will she
Yes.
see this later? I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was I going to say?
When you're out of the country and
Oh.
ignorance is not their responsibility.
Oh, yes. So, anyways, I appreciate the fact that you relate to when you're a fat kid from middle school, it never leaves your mind. You have these, your perception of yourself is always like, how do other people see me? Or they're always commenting on things. And even though I've lost the weight over about 8.5 years, when I have recently traveled out of the country to a third world country, India, I always expect, even though I'm a lot smaller, that people kept asking me if I felt okay and all these things, and because I was sweating. It was 97 and humid. The people who lived there were sweating.
I have the air conditioning, central air in here to set to 66, and I'm almost sweating. So context. Yeah, so I understand.
I feel fine. And I look fine too.
Yes, you
Sure,
do.
yes.
She can't actually see herself, but she knew she looked great right there.
This is and this is since 5:30 this morning. So we're good, Joe.
Oh yeah.
I think so.
So you got to pull the weight on the looks here. So,
Yes. So I was texting Daniel about the fact that I just always, people are, the way they perceive us is still, even though I'm so much smaller, I wish I could just wear a shirt that had my old picture on it that was like, look, I used to weigh 410 pounds. Could you just leave me alone about myself and quit asking me if I feel okay? And I'm still, yes, I still walk slower than everybody else. And, can I put a list of my ailments on the back of my shirt? I have arthritis in my hips, my knees, blah, 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 blah.
You don't wear the shirt size that would fit all those things anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We would need a 6LT for that. Could we get one of your old shirts for that? Or
I still have some from high school.
I've gotten rid of all mine. I think I've shredded all of them. But yes, other people's ignorance is what that all boiled down to.
Well, and how, because it's a lesson we talk about with clients a lot, is that the way other people treat you or say things and some of the horrible things they say is a reflection of themselves, but the first thing we do is take it internally, and there's immense freedom in knowing that, like, the fact that this person is a dumbass is not my problem, which in a polite way is saying that their ignorance is not our responsibility. And I think that's a super hard hurdle in, like, the motivation science, behavioral psychology world, but also when we get there, there's immense value there. And again, we're always going to face it because we always have our internal demons, but, you know, having the lasting effects be shorter is definitely
It'll get better as time goes on.
Boom. And when your lifestyle, like, the lifestyle goes up and the weight goes down, so it's just a perfect little.
Yeah, but that's a graph, and that's science, and that's not my side of the brain. If anybody would like to craft, that's my side of the brain.
And talk really well, write really well.
Yeah.
You know, and grammar
And
things.
hair, things like that.
Coffee, crafts, and
Right.
something hair related that starts with a C. I'll
Right.
put you on that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Couture.
Could be on point. We got Joe. He's writing it
Yeah.
down.
Right.
So I think that's a good way to close out episode 1. Next
1.
week we'll have a little interview style series with the one and only Sherry Figursky,
The one and only.
resident Two Gun celebrity. Amazing story, amazing woman.
One of the nicest, kindest.
Can we just spend the first,
coolest.
like, 20 minutes just complimenting her and seeing, like, her reaction on camera as we just
She makes
endlessly compliment her?
incredible buttercream frosting.
Pumpkin baked goods, right? Because you can be at a training facility, hire personal trainers, get expert staff, and still eat baked goods.
Yes,
That's another-
I'm not telling anyone where I hide the buttercream frosting that she brings me, because that would
Make the buttercream frosting a lot less in quantity for you.
Yes, for me, at home. Love you, Toby.
I love you too. And I love Ginny as well, I'm sure.
Yes, and I love
Yes.
Ginny too.
But I eat the ice cream, not her, so it's,
Yeah.
we're buttercream. Actually, Sherry Figursky, I need some buttercream.
Do you eat it too?
Of course.
Oh.
And I don't have any hidden anywhere. And that's actually true. So, see you next week.
Adios.